गलतियां तो हम करते हैं, कुछ जाने में कुछ अनजाने में। लेकिन अनजाने में हुई गलतियों को गलती ना कहा जाए, वो भी तो सही नहीं है ना। आज हम ऐसे एक टॉपिक पे बात करना चाहते हैं जिस पे अक्सर बात नहीं होती है, और मुझे लगता है कि क्योंकि बात नहीं होती है, ये सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत है। क्योंकि हमें पता ही नहीं है कि इससे क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स एक्चुअली में होती है। आज का पॉडकास्ट उतना लाइट मूडेड नहीं है, काफ़ी सीरियस बातों पे बातें हुई हैं। एंड या टाइटल पढ़ के समझ ही आया गया होगा कि किस बारे में बात हो रही है। पीरियड्स के बारे में बात है, और मैंने टाइटल पे ये लिखा कि हाउ कैन डांसर्स डील विद पीरियड्स। कुछ लोगों के दिमाग में ये भी आया होगा कि डांसर्स, लाइक देयर आर मेल डांसर्स आल्सो, वी डोंट सफ़र फ्रॉम पीरियड्स, है ना, हमें थोड़ी पीरियड्स आते हैं, तो हमें कैसे डील करना हुआ। बट इट वॉज वेरी इंटेंशनल कि मैंने सिर्फ डांसर्स लिखा, बिकॉज ये जो पीरियड्स है ना, इसको डील करने के लिए हमारी ज़रूरत भी पड़ेगी। हमें थोड़ा एजुकेशन चाहिए रिगार्डिंग दिस, एंड यस, दैट्स व्हाट वी हैव डन इन द पॉडकास्ट. So most of you got into dancing really early on, so that's really great. And because I didn't get into dancing until I was say 11 or 12, I guess, somewhat like that. Yeah, 10, 11, 12, something like. So uh, one question, like uh, that I've asked many people offline, of course, and I've got a really positive answer to that, and I'm really happy about it. But I would like to ask you guys also that this so-called patriarchal society that we have, okay, where men hold positions of like a higher position, or they try to dominate, stuff like that. Have you ever faced like such something like that when it came to dancing, when it came to your dancing career?
Yeah, like see, we see tutting only. Okay, so it's very much right now male dominant. So whenever even if I was doing the basic moves, people were like, "You're doing really good." Like it wasn't that aspect that you were doing really good for a girl. Yeah, so it's always been like that. Okay, I know where I stand. I know you are better, but why like it's actually not a compliment. To be
It's
very
kind of
honest. And
demeaning, yeah.
also like also when you're like generally practicing, so they'll make you do whacking, like or maybe not the other styles you're good at. So like you get such like you get to hear such things that it's okay, like you're a girl, you go and you do this, and you're a boy, you do this. So it's kind of like that.
Sharanya, your comments?
Uh, I'm lucky enough, I should say, I have not faced such things, to be honest. There always is, especially, especially as I mentioned rightly, when if you're a girl, you are put into a Indian classical art form like Bharatanatyam or Kathak. And if you're a guy, you're mostly into hip hop or the so-called Western at that point of time. So that has happened. But now I think it has slowly started changing. I think all of them are trying different styles, and even a male dancer is trying Indian art form like Bharatanatyam or Kathak. And then, people who are into a lot of styles. And I feel it is getting better. I would say as a society, it is getting a lot more better. And if you are also put into that, I think now you can obviously raise your voice and then come out of it at this era that we are living in. So I feel it is okay if you wanted to try any style that you want, and then just don't put yourself into the circle that I want. You are a male if you have to dance this kind of a style. So I think that is not required at this point of time. I think you do what you like.
Yeah, and to add to that, it's actually the like what do I say that these are uneducated people, like uneducated in the sense that they don't have education regarding the dance or the culture. Because if we go to the history of dancing, say Bharatanatyam, so it has been performed by male and female both. Okay, if we go back to the history of whacking, it started with the LGBTQ. So just we cannot say like it started with gay people, with lesbians, and for them it was a movement by them. The whole disco era that came. So those people who try to, I don't know what they do, stereotype it with girls or something, like they don't have the knowledge. Maybe that's why they do it. But yeah, uh, it's great to like listen to you both. And yeah, like because let Grishma finish and then I'll add something else, like what I have experienced when I've talked to other girls also. So Grishma, what has been your experience?
So when you say patriarchal society, I actually have a lot of points when it comes to this. So firstly, it's about, as like Sharanya also said, and Prashant also said, about dance forms. We are put into like classical, and even when males try to do classical or even like heels, jazz and heels, or like whacking or things like that, especially in the Indian society, they are looked down upon, and that is also a product of patriarchy that is affecting men. So that in that way, even like male dancers are also affected. And when it comes to female dancers, this is just my observation and what has happened with me. So as girls in general in the society, not talking as dancers, we do not have the freedom to make as many mistakes or like not feel guilty about making mistakes as guys do. So guys generally have they can get away with a lot of things that they do, but we are told to be like, you're supposed to be prepared, you're supposed to look like this, because you're a girl, you're supposed to be presentable. So you're basically supposed to be prepared for anything and not make a mistake. So when it came to that, when you see, because I've been a stage dancer for a really long time, I did a lot of shows, I still do, and I do a lot of shoots when it comes to stage performance. So I know like it's a choreography you have to learn. You have to learn today a choreography today and perform tomorrow. I can do it because I've been a stage dancer for a long time. So when getting into street dancing community, you see very less girls in dance forms like be it krump or like house or even hip hop. When it comes to that matter, there are very less girls, and when it comes to stage dancing, when we get all these corporate shows, there are so many girls, they look for guys. So what for me, what I have observed and what has happened with me is, because since I know that, okay, I am so confident in doing stage performances because I know I have time to be prepared. And I know that, okay, this is how it has to be perfect on stage. So since we are also girls, we're supposed to be perfect most of the times, not like guys. So they have the freedom. So that freedom you can see in the street dance as well, right? So there are so many more guys and there are so less girls who like want to be put out there. And there's also a few discussions I was having with like one of our teachers as well. So the reason I got into like street dancing is because I want to freestyle, like, and I have so many inhibitions in my head of like, okay, I am not going to be perfect, it's not going to look good, and there are so many things inside my head, but it's all internalized since we were a kid. So because we've been told to be like that more than the guys have been told. So that is, again, that's one of my observations why there are so much less street dance, like female street dancers, especially even in Bangalore, in India especially. So that's just one of my, so it's again internalized patriarchy, and it flows into all these things from your childhood till the future. So I was telling her, like, I want to freestyle without inhibition. And it's not like people around me are putting me down because I'm a girl. Things like that have happened, but for me, it has not happened. So she was telling me her examples, but for me, it's the voices in my own head. You're not good enough. You're not going to be perfect. So this is going to keep happening in your head. It might not be because you're a girl or a guy, but like at the end of the day, guys do have more freedom in the society. So that is shown in their dance. But girls need so much more to be confident on the floor. And that to freestyle or like battle, like all of a sudden, especially like dance forms like krump. And I recently got connected to krump a lot, so I could see the community. So there are so many guys and there's like 2-3 girls. And it's very intimidating also. I mean, these are not so these are instances and things that are not directly overtly seen to public, but
That
it's
is
just the internal struggle. But it's all internalized patriarchy, so it is still a patriarchal society. At the end of the day, there are so many battles which are not spoken or like seen, right? So yeah.
The whole point of asking was, I wanted to ask if there was any like what do you say, that pulling down, like punching down on you. Like, have you ever felt like someone is trying to pull you down just because you're a girl? Like uh, has it happened to you?
Not really, actually. I cannot remember.
Great. Yeah. Like that is what I have also observed, that this question, when I ask this particular question, they always say no, that this hasn't happened, or most of the times I've heard like sub supportive hai. So in that sense, like the dancing scene, the Indian dancing scene is quite good because we are always supportive, and that's what like the culture also teaches us. So I'm glad that people are maintaining the culture and
Yeah. So pulling you down, I think it's something that happens in every field. But what hurts the most is someone who you know does it, and it's from the same gender. Okay, a woman who's trying to pull you down, and that especially happens when you wanted to, in your peak of your dancing, and then or it can be anything, right? Performing for a show, or it's performing for a competition, or for a performance. It can be anything, but if it comes from someone whom you know, that's when it hurts you the most. At least from a same gender. So this happens. I think it happens in every field. The only way is to understand it at the right point, uh, come out of the place, and then move on. So obviously you cannot go back and then fight with them. That's not something that will be long lasting, right? What you have to know is know at the right point. You have to know that someone who is with you is pulling you down, and then move away from it, and then do your work, do your dancing, do what you wanted to do for your life. So that is something that one has to understand, is what I wanted to add. So it's not gender biased, it's from the same gender. That is something that we have to always uh, check, and then be alert of what's happening around us.
moving on to a topic that I recently came across, that people are actually looking for this, like this is actually a problem, and it is a legit problem, just that it didn't occur to me in the first glance. It is how to deal with periods, like being a dancer, being a performer, or a teacher, or whatever you are, like whatever you feel, whether you're doing battles or like there are several things that you can do as a dancer. But yeah, like that is a time period, like a brief period of the month that like you guys struggle, like physically. So how to deal with that, and how have you dealt with it?
Yeah, sometimes it's really a problem. Like when you're dancing at home or just nearby, it's okay, it works. Like it actually distracts me. Like for myself, I can say it actually distracts me or diverts me from the pain or any kind of discomfort. But when you're traveling, it's a real problem. Like if you are going to a battle or something. Also, like since we all know that this street dancing thing is very male dominant, so the facilities and everything is also not in our favor. I might not even find a toilet there, or like actually like just forget about the clean toilet. I might not even find that. Um and there are like many problems like that. Like you actually need to have somebody with you all the time and stuff. But like to be honest, like recently when I came across this menstrual cup thing and I just converted myself to this, it's been really very helpful. Like I was really comfortable using it. So yeah, menstrual cups really help. But with pads, it's a little bit of a problem. And everybody's periods are also different. Like the pain could be different, and the situations can be different. So I cannot actually tell a lot about how others can deal with it.
So you did, that is the whole thing, like because maybe somebody is like you, so it can help them. That is, and about your menstrual cup thing, I know that you also have a dedicated movement regarding it. So we'll just come back to that after we finish their experiences. Okay. So Sharanya.
When you are in a place where you have got your periods, and then especially if you're performing or if you have a show or something, first of all, I would say not to panic. Don't tell yourself that you have periods. How am I going to perform? How am I going to do the show? First of all, I think that's something we have to get rid of. Accept that you have periods mentally. Okay, accept that you have periods now, and then prepare yourself that you can do. I understand from my experience, I have very bad cramps, especially during first day or the first 2 days. I have very bad cramps. I really wanted to get good rest and sleep, but you cannot stop the show. Okay, you cannot stop, especially if you're going to perform for a live audience or if you're going to attend a competition. It's not going to stop. First of all, get good sleep is what I would suggest, especially performance or show. Get good sleep. Most underrated thing, especially during your periods. Get good sleep. And if you're performing as a group or if you're performing as a duo, it's better you tell the other person that you are on your period. So that there's somebody, if at all you're not feeling good, to let them know that you're on your period, and I feel it's not wrong at all. If you cannot handle it by yourself, I'm just telling it for the extreme cases, because I have had situations where I was not able to stand properly when I had to do a show, because I was having very bad cramps. Obviously when there's a performance or a show, you do a lot of intense activity before that. You do a lot of rehearsals, and then the rehearsals go even at night at times. So at that time, it's always good that you tell your uh, you know the person whom you are with that I'm on a period. Just help me. It's nothing wrong in telling. That's not nothing wrong in telling the other person, even if it's a male. I think it's completely okay. And let them know that you're on a period, so that there's somebody who can help you out if at all you find it difficult. And obviously the third possible reason is menstrual cup. I think that's the most safest thing. Having said that, I have not tried it myself. I know still have a little bit of uh, uh, thing towards that. I do have to try it. I have to accept that. But even with the regular napkins that you have available, or the tampons or the other sources of thing, always have a backup with you. Always carry a lot of uh, bags. When I mean bags, like the reusable bags that you can throw, or newspapers for that matter. And one more important thing is have some good nutritious food, right? Always carry some fruits, especially banana, because something with carbs, it gives you a lot more energy. So that's a lot more better. You have a banana because it's easy for you to just peel and eat it, rather than any other fruit. So apples, bananas are much more healthier, I feel, in terms of when you wanted to perform, or even when you're traveling, it's kind of easier to take. And yeah, that's the basic thing. And if you are not doing well during a performance, just take uh, a gap, maybe for an hour, sit down, take heat protection bags that you get, or sit quietly and then take a small nap. I think small naps are always good whenever you're on a period. Just sleep for like half an hour or 15 minutes at least before a show, so that your mind is also calm, so that you can perform well. That's like on a high level, but obviously the pain is something that you cannot talk about. Each and every individual has their own way and method to deal with. But good nutritious food, rest, support from your peer is something that can be done easily during time of your performance.
So I consider myself very lucky because I do not get cramps, touch wood. So, I mean, there have been a lot of instances where on the day of my show, I get my periods. So, like 1 hour before the show, you get your periods. But I didn't I don't know, I do not get cramps. It's just the uneasiness that you get, when something's less blood flowing out of your body. So, there's this uneasiness and things like that. So I didn't have to deal with a lot of things like period related, but I know a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people like suffer before the performance going on stage. But then so when it comes to stage dancing, it's still a little better for us. But when it comes to like battles or cyphers or anything, and then you get your period suddenly, it's horrible. Because first of all, there's so much crowd in the place, and then to get out of it and find a hygienic place to change, or like get your resources, it's quite, so things there need to change. It's not something that we are able to do. That it should be, you know, all inclusive, like all gender inclusive, and there needs to be spaces dedicated for that. So, you know, everyone can, these are situations that are not under our control. So like it has to be a little supportive when it comes to, you know, the street dancing side. The stage dancing, Sharnya's covered most of it. Like that's basically all. Even I had suggestions with what I've seen with others. I have thankfully not. Uh, even if I've had cramps a little here and there, but it's manageable for me. Like I just like distract myself with dance, so it kind of goes away somehow. So it's quite different for me. But like since what I've seen, Sharanya has told all the points, so like I don't think I need to add. It's just that there are few facilities that need to, I think, be made, and like it should be considered for, I won't say just females, just all the genders that are there. So that's about it.
Like, yeah, the toilet thing, and that, yeah, everybody has experienced that. And mostly it is because it is very mismanaged, like the street culture. Whenever, and like I'm talking about the regular events, I'm not talking about the big events. They are really good, they're managed very well. But I'm talking about the regular event that happens every now and then in our localities, the local jams and everything. They are organized by people who don't have much experience in organization. You know, it just doesn't it doesn't occur to them that, yeah, we need a place, an hygienic place to, you know, pee and poo. But that doesn't occur. Like, yeah. So maybe people should get a little more educated in the sense of organization, a little more serious about organization, do their due diligence. Maybe, yeah, that is the whole point. I guess that in that way we can help. So I haven't organized many events, very few, and the ones that I have, they have mostly been workshops, and they have been in a facility, in a good facility. Though I didn't have to manage actually those stuff, because of course, if I'm at a good facility, if it's a school, so they have a uh, good washroom or restroom or a green room also, like you know, like whichever place that I have rented, it has been a good one, so I haven't faced that issue. But of course, when it comes to local jams and all, this is an issue for girls and for boys as well, because it I really like, even I have the problem that I find it really disgusting to go and be at a place that is not clean. Okay, and yeah, so that is the thing that we should focus on. And coming to Prashansha and her menstrual cup movement, so could you throw some light upon it, like what it is, and all, educate us and other people?
Yeah, so basically, I started this thing called Merry Menses. Right now, Merry means happy, menses is periods, so it's happy periods kind of. So it's basically just to aware people and encourage them to use a menstrual cup. At least try it, because people actually, like, even if they're aware, like, first of all, most of them are not aware, and even if they're aware, they're just scared to use it, and actually for no reason. They're no legit reason, they're like scared to use it, so it's just for that. And also, like, when I was thinking about it, so I actually realized that's for the sportswomen and the dancers, female dancers, and all sorts of jobs that are done on field. Like, you are required to be physically doing something. So in that way, it could actually really help. And for those who don't know what is a menstrual cup, so wait, yeah, it is like a tiny cup that does not absorb the blood. It actually goes into the vagina and it collects all the blood. And then you can throw the blood, wash it, and use it again. So it's just very, very eco-friendly, and it lasts for like 5 to 10 years. And once like, you can wear it for 8 to 12 hours. So in that way, it's really comfortable. Yeah.
That's nice. I hope this information helps a lot of women. And thank you so much for the effort that you're making, Prashansha. Like not just for the podcast, but also like you are doing it almost full time only, spreading awareness. So thank you about that. All right, so this was I hope this was a very informative session till now. So let us just go into the topic or that segment of the video that is my favorite and which I like to call Kya Dancers Paisa Kama Pa Rahe. So this segment is all about I can see the smiles on your faces. So about sorry about the cocky name, but yeah, that's just I wanted to call wanted it to call, so I'm calling it that. And yeah, what we discuss basically is it has been quite some time that dance has been around. Like not the I'm not talking dance, but the dance culture and opting dance as a career has been a. But when it comes to a general dancer, suppose if we say there are 100 dancers, I'm taking random statistics to make it to make people understand. If we take 100 dancers, and if we talk about if we just put in our hand and pick up one dance, so what is the average salary of that general dance? How much is that person earning? And that is pretty much like very less than other professions, and that makes it really hard for an artist to pursue his or her art. So in this section, what we do is we talk about different avenues and different ways of earning that suppose you are here, so you guys can talk about how you earn or how you plan to earn and what you are doing basically to make money. And maybe that can help somebody else who is in a similar situation as you guys. So we'll start with Grishma because I know that she's totally into dancing. So that would be a really good, I guess she has a lot of information on this one. So what about, how do you earn, Grishma? How, like, what is the scene?
So I actually started earning money through dance in my first year of college only. So I used to do a lot of shows. So that was basically before pandemic. So I did a lot of unpaid work before I started getting paid work. So in the name of internship or something, we'll give you an internship certificate. So like you do the show for us and things like that. So I've done all that. After like a few months of doing unpaid shows and everything, then I started getting paid shows. And it was quite hard for me to handle college. It was quite a hustle. So morning rehearsal in one place, go to college, then evening rehearsal in another place, which is like 10-15 kilometers away, then stay there till like 10:30, 11:30 in the night rehearsals, and then go home like by 11:30, 12 and things like that. So I did that like continuous shows. So like, and it was quite underpaid. So I kind of made money just for like with to not ask my parents for a bit for my own expenses and things like that. So since I was living with my parents, it was a good deal. So that when people live alone, the rent and everything, it's another story, like completely other struggle only. I live at home, so it's like, and I have my own vehicle, so traveling also is not much. So just the other expenses that I had to like clear off, something like that, I used to maintain. Then I used to take workshops as well. So we used to travel to like Mysore, Bangalore, other cities in Karnataka. We used to take workshops and things. But then also, whatever you spend going there, living there, everything for those days, it'll just get cut off with what?
Yeah, basically
like,
you cut even with all the expense and income. Yeah.
So it's not like we're gaining money, but like we just went. It was a nice experience anyway, just to share knowledge and meet other people. But again, it didn't count as an earning because technically you spent as much as you earned. So then pandemic happened, which was quite a hit because performances stopped. There is no stage, like, so it's all like videos. So now post pandemic, post the second wave, I had like 2 corporate shows. So what shoots happen instead of performance. So there's a green screen, you put costume and dance, and they will put a stage ka background and stage ka floor instead of the green screen.
Okay.
So that is, so technically what people can do is do one corporate shoot and use the same video for the whole year for all
Whole
the
year.
corporate shoots.
Oh yeah, right.
So our payment is gone for the whole year, technically.
Oh,
So
but
that-
they don't pay you for the videos they use. Like if they use it multiple times, they don't pay you multiple times.
Why will they pay? We shot only
Why not?
once.
But they are using it, no? Are you should get some
That logic doesn't work.
you should
That
get some
logic
paperwork regarding that, man. And then you get paid for that.
So
Honestly,
one that see that is one more thing I want to come to. So apart from all of that, see, then you can either become a Zumba instructor or something. Nowadays you don't need license also for that. You can do all of that to get easy money, but like you won't grow as a dancer. It's just easy money.
Yeah.
And I started applying for like jobs since I graduated, since my final exam ka results came. So since then, it was like 3 months or something. I was just like applying for jobs, just looking. So there are people who started doing hiring online instructors and things. So now I got a job as a creative movement dance instructor. So this I'll get like proper monthly salary. So this is a secure income that I'm going to get. So it's been a month right now. So that is one way that I'm earning. But apart from that whole paperwork thing. So one main thing that is lacking is organization and the legality of the business in the dance community. So how I used to get shows is like through word of mouth, like, okay, I know this dancer who can do this dance form, so she'll come and do. So they'll just tell you, okay, we're going to rehearse all these days, you come for these days for practice, you do the show, we'll give you this payment. That's all. There's no formal agreement. There's no, okay, this is something that we're going to follow. This, you can sue us if if we do something like this. There's nothing. Okay, these are the days of rehearsals. You come, you perform, and we'll pay you. That's all. And there's no organization. They don't know how. So they'll ask one of their dancer friends if you know another dancer friend. That's it. There's no connection. They don't know what else you're doing. So if they want to hire for another style ka dancer, and they don't know like what you do. They just come, they basically use your art, use your experience and whatever that you've learned, they use it and give you very less money and they'll just use you and they'll just like throw you. So that's one thing that needs to, people don't know how many dancers are there in a particular area or in a particular city. They don't know how many street dancers are, how many stage dancers are. There's so much unorganization in the community. It's not there in like other sectors. If it's like the medical field or the corporate field, it's not there. There is a structure, there's a hierarchy, how people get hired and they get paid and how it's going to go ahead. There is legality, there's everything. There's a structure of what do you say? I don't know the term. Forgot. Anyway, but there's a structure. This is the absolutely unstructured. The whole art, forget dancing, just the artist community. It's quite unstructured. So that becomes a problem. So that's why artists are underpaid. And there's nothing that you can even go ask payment also, because there's only verbal agreement, which is not like recorded, nothing like that. So it's just a verbal agreement in most of the shows. So that's one thing, and that's and there are a lot. I consider myself lucky, but I also know that I've worked for it. But now that I'm getting like a monthly payment job being a dance instructor. So, and that too, I'm teaching creative movement. So that's basically exploration of body and space. That too, they're small kids, like they're 4 to 5 year old kids, and I love my job like right now. So it's like everything's like kind of been working on, and it's a very healthy space for me to work with people, because I was just I know whoever I'm working, even though it's online, I haven't met them, but I know their dance background and everything. So it's like an organized way. They showed me the contract. Everything is like extremely professional, like how working professionals are treated in other sectors. That's how we're treated, even if we're just teaching dance. So that way, like this
Correct,
has to
correct.
happen generally, which is not. And there's also other ways to earn money by all these short video apps. I think you
Correct.
already made a podcast on that,
Yeah,
right?
we really
So
made a podcast on that.
yeah, so that is also that's another easy way to like make money. But again, you have to be consistently posting. So that is also a little bit pressure, but that's cool.
That's your
Like you
work.
still
That,
get
like, that's how you have to treat it. If you want to make money online creating content, then make creating content your full-time job. So that's how you
yeah,
have to look at it. So
yeah,
basically, that is the thing. And regarding the
yeah,
organization and what you said about the paperwork and everything, the thing is, I don't know, like people don't like paperwork, you know, in general. If suppose you're 18 years old, 17 years old, okay, just into college, and somebody, a friend of yours, suggested your name to a place or a dance company, and they called you in, you went there, and now they said, now if they say okay, bring in your identification card and all and everything, all this, so we'll do this paperwork and all, this will take 1 day or something like that. So in general you'll freak out. Why do I have to do this, man? When it is your first time, I'm talking about the first time. And that is the thing, that why well, we as dancers only, we don't go, like my first show, I didn't do any agreement, man. Okay, and I went from Zimbabwe, Hyderabad. Okay, I went to Ramoji Film City. That was my first ever show. And I didn't do anything. I was there. I didn't even know for how long I was going. I was told we are going for 20 days, 24 days. Okay, and I stayed there for 3 fucking months. Okay, so this was the case. But yeah, but I was not, but I didn't think about it, to be honest, at that point in time, because my concern at that time wasn't earning money. My concern at that point was earning the experience that I'm gonna get. And later on, it was late that I actually realized the price or the value of the paper. Okay, like, yeah, you have to make an agreement, and there have to be like certain terms that they have to comply with. uh, I think I'll make a podcast on this particular topic as well. Okay, the legalities and paperwork with somebody who is much more experienced than myself, so that other people can get some, idea. So thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for giving me another topic for another podcast. Sharanya, what are like? Yeah, you told us that you work at an IT company. So
Yeah. So one thing I have to give it to Grishma is the hierarchy, right? If you work in any other field, there is a standard, no? You just come as an intern and then you go to this level and then that level, and then the pay is also like that. But nowadays, especially in the field of any art form for that matter, it doesn't work that way. I think that structure has to be slightly modified, so that you are paid for your work, for your experience. Both are very important, for your work and the experience, right? Because now we are in an era of social media. We are not sure who has, like, 10 years of experience and who has just started dancing. People who have just started dancing a month are posting a lot of videos, and then I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, they are getting a lot more paid than experienced professional dancers. Okay, so that hierarchy has to be stopped, and then this happens because of the followers count, I would say. People are not seeing the value of the art for the work that they have done. Rather, your followers speak a lot more than your work. I feel that is little saddening right now, I would say, because of the emerging of a lot of short video apps, reels, and things like that. I understand at one point it is a plus for a lot more uh, artists who wanted to get into the field of dance. It is helping them. I would not say it's a wrong thing, but at the same time, people who are into this professionally, for a lot more years. I'm not saying a person who has just come out of school or from college. I'm talking about people who have been in the industry for 5 years, 6 years, or maybe more than 10 years, right? They are paid a lot more less, because they your Instagram profile is not everything for an artist. There are a lot more things. the lot more effort that you have put into dancing, especially for learning, right? You put a lot of effort initially to go to a teacher, find a teacher at your place, and then learn it. So I think that effort is kind of missed at this point of our as we speak in 2021, I would say, and I hope it gradually changes in the future as well. Coming to my experience, I would say I've never seen dance as a business or a mode of earning initially, because I wanted to learn a lot about this and then only start earning. So uh, now, even now, what I do is I do learn and then I do teach, because I loved teaching when I was in my lowest point of my life in terms of my health. I think teaching did help me a lot, especially if you are with kids. It definitely helps boost your energy. You interact with different set of people. It kind of gives you a lot more happiness, I would say, or joy, I would say, that you get to interact with a lot of kids, learn from them. And I must say, kids are super hyped up about dancing. They're super creative. They ask the right question. I'm not sure if I would have asked the right question to my teacher when I was at their age. No, I wouldn't have done it. But now I feel kids are super smart. They understand what you teach, even if it's online. I'm not teaching offline, I'm teaching online. And I understand. I'm actually sometimes surprised how they understand the steps, ask questions on how I should do the steps and things like that. I'm really surprised. I'm happy that the dancing scene is going exponentially, I would say. Exponentially. And it's people are gonna have a tough time. The competition is just gonna be high in the future. And coming to payment in terms of shows, it is pathetic. I'll tell you one of a recent incident that I've had. I was supposed to dance for an organization where they claimed I have to have a very good background, good videography, good editing, and I have to pay for the show.
Oh,
You ask me why? Because exposure. They kill you with the name exposure. That is, and that too, you have to see it's actually put out in a social media. Okay, it's actually put out in maybe Facebook or YouTube, where they don't have a lot of followers. Trust me, they don't have a lot of followers also. Okay, but they I don't want to say the organization name for that matter, but they have like a you will be surprised by hearing the name of the organization. It will be like as if they are doing it for the government thing, or as if it's like they keep very good name. It will attract the audience to even try it. But they are still doing it because people want exposure. Okay, you know your
yeah,
worth. You cannot be doing a show where you have to pay, you have to do the choreography, you have to put all the effort, in making yourself look good, have a good camera. If you're not good at editing and videography, you have to hire somebody to do all that. And after doing all this, you have to pay. Okay, that's the especially during the pandemic. I don't know how they're just doing this as a business, and it's very very bad. I opted out of the show, saying that okay, thank you, I might not be able to do this at this point. But when I saw their page later, I have seen a lot of artists come and do it. Why? Again, the same thing. They wanted to dance, they wanted to put out their work in some other platform. It is bad. People are not understanding. Sometimes you're not understanding your own worth. That's
correct,
what
right.
happens. Second, people are not educated that see, you are doing all the effort and someone else is getting paid, someone else is using your work. that
Correct, yeah.
that will hit you only after you do a lot of unpaid shows. That will hit you only after you will realize that okay, why am I doing everything in the name of exposure, right? Why am
Correct,
I
yeah.
doing all this? No, nobody is working for a lot of years in a corporate job saying I'm doing it for the exposure. Even the
Correct, yeah.
internship that you do, it's only for 6 months or max,
Yeah,
no, at
3 months,
least
six
if you
months,
learn it
yeah.
properly.
Yeah,
And then people don't do it for years. So I think that has to stop, and it will only stop if artists don't do such shows. Only then it will stop. Else
correct,
the
right.
organization will keep starting, if you are not going to dance, I'll find someone else who can perform for the same cost.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's definitely going to, the chain is going to just keep on, it will be on loop. I think it is, we as a dancers, we have to take a stand, and then we should not be doing unpaid shows or shows where we have to pay in the name of exposure. I think it has to come within our own circle, Akash.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That thank you for bringing this up. And yeah, we all have that. See, when you're at the starting of your career, you'll do some unpaid shows. Okay, call it internship or whatever, unpaid work. But of course, right after you have done some, you should stop. Okay, and no, like you should have some red flag. Like, I would give some recommendation of red flags. Number one, if they're asking for money, go home. Okay, if they're offering you exposure, go home. Like I let me let's I can't remember who
You
it
got a
was.
new post for Shape Your Sunday. All these memes. Thought.
Was Henry Link or Poppin Pete or somebody like that. Okay, I can't recall actually. So he was sharing his experience with some organization. So they offered the same thing, exposure, and the answer that he gave was, "I dance in the fucking streets. What more exposure can you give me?" Okay, so people already see me. So what else can you give me? So red flags are when somebody is offering exposure, don't go for only exposure. Take some other. Suppose they are giving you some kind of learning. Suppose they're enrolling you into a program, dance program that they have for free. Because you also do shows for them or you work for them. Okay. Suppose you teach a junior batch and they're giving you free enrollment into the senior batch where you can learn. So that could be a good barter. So you have to understand these things. Okay. Don't do it for free and don't do it for a very less pay. And I know it hurts. I know, like, you may be in need of money, or maybe you're too desperate to get some exposure, but trust me, you will get exposure uh, as soon as as soon as you start putting out content. If it is online exposure, as soon as you start putting out content, you will get exposure in like 2 to 3 months if you are regular at it. So man, this is what I want to say, man. Like don't work for free, don't. Okay, and when I say free, as I also explained you, that it is not just monetary benefit, it could be some other benefits also. So there are different types of currency. Like I have a whole concept of, I'll go on to that later on. Yeah, so that is it. Would you like to throw some light on how you're I know you're really young, too young to make like a lot of money, and if you are, then you're doing a really good job. But yeah, like what is your experience regarding money in the dancing?
Yeah, like first of all, because of all such problems exist, the money is a real need. We all know that. So because of all such
Absolutely.
problems, I am not at all right now, like not at all considering taking dancing as a career. Like
Okay.
because of all of that, like I'll obviously never leave dancing and it'll always be the side thing. Like about my ways, how I have ever earned a little bit of money, that would be first from the online dance competitions. I could not participate in offline ones, unfortunately, at the college levels. So I just, there's this benefit. You just make one good video and then you put it in all the competitions. This
Yeah,
is
man.
single video of mine that has made me won like 2 or 3 competitions.
Mm.
That was the real thing. Like,
Now
and
you should take notes. Okay, if you're listening to this, you should take notes.
it made me earn that much. Like it made me earn more than ever I have earned through dance, taking of dance classes. Like I used to teach little kids
Absolutely, yeah.
temporarily and joined the local dance studio where I'm teaching ladies. So that is all I can do. Baki, there's one thing now, like as Sharanati said, that dancing, like right now, more than skills, it's being linked to your popularity, how
Absolutely.
commercial you are, and also intrapersonal skills play a role. Like you can easily get exploited. You actually have to know that. Yeah, also like the trendy dance you need to do. Like when I went to the studio or like when I went up, I'll teach. I wanted to teach the basics, okay,
Right,
because
right.
I never learned the basics properly, and so all the years when I've been in dance classes, I could not learn properly. So I wanted to teach the basics, but no, they don't want to learn basics. They want to do Bollywood directly.
Yeah, that is the thing,
Be
man.
like that.
And
That's
yeah, that was the reason why I stopped teaching. Okay, that was the reason, because people didn't want to learn the raw stuff or the basic, the foundational stuff. People don't want to know the history behind it. They just want to dance. And it kind of offended me, because I'm so much into the history of things or the culture, and I'm so emotionally connected to all of it. But yeah, it was a defect on my part, actually, because I just finished off a podcast recording yesterday with B-Boy True One, and he's an amazing teacher, man. And he taught me. He told that, and also I was talking with Nimble Funk the other day. He was here, so they told the same thing, man. You're selling it. Okay, you're not actually giving it for free. Now, like, it is not. You're selling it. So if you have to sell a product, you have to make it look good, right? Like, you won't buy an ugly product now, like, not ugly, or if it is just raw. Okay. And when I say raw, like, I always give the example of raw chocolate versus the processed and dairy milk and Bournville and all of these stuff. Okay. If you try cocoa, okay, with it is really sour, and like, you can't actually, like, most of people won't actually like it. Okay, and same thing is with the coffee also. Okay, the raw stuff is really not tasty, or as tasty as the processed. Okay, so when you are teaching the basics or the raw stuff, that might just not be digestible by the kids, or by the first time. Suppose somebody is coming to your class for the first time, he or she might just not be able to digest the foundational or the raw that you're teaching. You have to mix it with Bollywood and like stuff like that. So that is what I have learned recently. But then again, it can differ from person to person. Like, I still don't want to dance, for the same exact reason. Okay, if I ever give workshops, okay, somebody organizes the workshops and calls me in for that, I always teach the basics. But then if I do choreo, then I go into like fusion and stuff. Okay, so that is the thing. And yeah, as I said, that you're too young to start earning, but if you have, kudos to you. And that online thing, like video thing, is a real. I would say, like,
There's one more advice I would like to give. Like in certain competitions, it's like the video should already be on social
yeah.
media. So what you do is you archive the video. Then when the competition is done, you put it back. I've really done this. Now the people might be
Hack.
like,
What a hack, man. That is great. That can work for competitions and all. That won't work for online meetings, because they, of course, won't like recently record. Like in 2 hours, they ask, or 1 hour, they ask to record video. So yeah, but when it comes to competitions and all, that hack works, man, and works like a charm. Uh, yeah, that is the power of social media. That's the power of video, I would say. Chalo. It has been a great podcast, and I am
Just
so
one
glad.
more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing I just want to say, fine. I know it's been like, I just feel like we've been talking a lot about struggles, but like, I want to say, if you're like really passionate about dance and you want to make a living, be it you're a guy or a girl, just go for it without thinking, what people say, and you will find the right avenues if your mind is in the right place. I have met a lot of dancers who are in the same position they were 5 years ago when I met them, and even now they still say we're struggling. But
Yeah,
there are a lot of avenues if you have the right people around you and if you look for the right things. So if you're really passionate about dance, you should just go for it. There, it is going to be a struggle, be it any career, and it's going to be much more struggle if you're an artist, but it's going to be worth it in the end. So like,
absolutely. Yeah.
just go for it.
Thank you for the motivation, Lord. And yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. See, we are discussing the problem so that a solution might come up. Okay, because all of us have faced problems and tackled. Okay, and people might have similar problems, so it can help them tackle the problem. And if if not help them tackle the problem, it can give them a good mindset that, yeah, I need to fight for it. I need to, you know. So that's why we were discussing the problems and different types, like how you went past it. So it has been an amazing podcast, and thank you, ladies, for being here. And yeah, it has been a pleasure hosting you guys. And yeah, before
Thank you
we
for having
go,
us.
And
yeah, thank. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Before we go, I have a game that we play. It's a simple rapid fire game, but I don't know how are we gonna play in this. Okay, I'll say a name of a style. Okay, and you have to tell me the person that comes to your mind, the first person that comes to your mind. Okay, sounds cool. All of you unmute yourself, yeah, and let's do it like
Just keep it
start
open
with-
now. Whosoever, like, anyone will say it first.
नहीं, 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 like-
Whatever you want to know.
नहीं, फिर क्या होगा कि सब बोलेंगे तो हल्ला हो जाएगा ना. Maybe it won't be audible like properly, but you can unmute yourself. All of you unmute yourself, please. And अपन करते ही. Okay, so we'll start with Prasansha. Prasansha, the first style for you is hip hop.
Oh, sorry.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jessica.
Tell me your name.
I said Jessica.
Jessica. Oh, okay. Sharanya, hip hop.
my teacher, I would say, I'll say Azhar sir and Jabbar sir. So
Okay.
the institution that I've been with, so I'm going to tell their name.
Oh, great. Grishma.
Shri Tarun sir, my teacher, just comes to my head.
Oh, great. The next style is backing. We'll start with Prasansha.
Yeah, Rajkumar sir.
Great. Sharanya, backing.
People from House of Suraj. I don't really know their names, but they are pretty good.
Okay. Chalo. Grishma.
Hey, there are a lot more artists. Akash, just disclaimers
No,
here.
no.
There are a lot more beautiful artists.
Of
but
course,
just that
no.
it comes right.
The essence of the
my
game.
mind.
See, I'll tell you why I'm playing this game. The game is rapid fire, and the first person that comes to your mind after hearing the name of a style, is probably the person who has left a mark on your mind with the dance style. Okay, and the whole purpose is to give them a shout out, because you have made a, it's like a positive message to them that yes, you have done something, and you have actually made a difference in someone's life, that someone actually remembers the dance style by your name. Okay, so this is the whole essence of it. So Grishma, backing.
Anushi.
Anushi, Anushi is so awesome, absolutely, man. Okay, of course, the dance style that is favorite for all of us. Setting, Prasansha.
Leos. Leo
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. Sharanya.
You said tatting, right?
Yeah, setting.
So geometric variables, Sadek. If I'm pronouncing his name, yeah, he's super
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Love his moves.
Absolutely. Grishma.
Should I say only one name? There are too many people pop up in my head.
The first person.
Okay. I would just say Nidhi.
Nidhi.
Yeah,
Shout
we'll
out
give a
to
shout
Nidhi,
out to
man.
Nidhi. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay, so shout out to all the names that popped up here. And as I said, you guys have made a difference, and thank you for being awesome. Like, stay awesome. Do the work
Thank
that
you
you're
for
doing.
having us, Akash.
It has been lovely, and we'll do this one more time. Well, not one more time, multiple more times in the future. And probably, if possible, we are together in the same city. That is very unlikely, because we are right. Like, I'm from far east. She's from central India, Delhi place. You're from Chennai. You're from Bangalore. So we're like making a big triangle. So it's highly unlikely. Still, if fortune favors, if we are in the same room, we do it offline, or else we'll do this podcast again someday online. And thank you, ladies, and thank you so much. Good night, and have a great time. Can you before we go, since we all speak different first languages, okay, we have different first languages. Can you just each one of you say this particular line in your native language? That is, keep shaping, keep dancing, and make lots and lots of money. So can you do it? I'm just saying, can we do it?
Keep shaping.
Okay, leave the keep shaping and keep dancing part. Make lots and lots of money. Can we do it? Yeah.
Yeah, mine is Hindi. नाचते रहो, पैसे कमाते रहो.
Okay, Shania, what do we say it in Tamil?
So நிறைய டான்ஸ் பண்ணுங்க, நிறைய சம்பாதிங்க. Like you earn a lot.
Wow. Waiting for you, Grishma.
ತುಂಬಾ ಕುಣಿತಾ ಇರಿ, ಹಂಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ದುಡಿತಾ ಇರಿ.
Yeah, I know the meaning, so I understood it, but it sounded really great. It rhymed a lot. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You know, I learned so much from this podcast. Like बहुत सी बातें जो उन्होंने कही और मैंने उसी टाइम मतलब उनको भी बोला कि it didn't occur to me like in the first glance कि मतलब लगता ही नहीं है यार, हम ऐसे नज़रअंदाज कर देते हैं जैसे मतलब हमें पता ही नहीं होता ना, जैसे मैंने बोला था कि ड्यू टू अवेयरनेस प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि हम अवेयर नहीं हैं उस वजह से कितनी प्रॉब्लम्स हो जाती हैं। और उस मतलब हाँ वो तुम्हारी गलती नहीं है, यू वर नॉट अवेयर ऑफ इट, बट नॉट बीइंग अवेयर इज ऑल्सो योर फॉल्ट ना। सो इट्स टाइम टू गेट अवेयरनेस, यू नो, and I hope you learned a lot, and my request and the conclusion that I'm drawn to is that the organizers of an event should always take in consideration that some of the female artists that may come to their event as a contestant or as guest or as a judge or whatever reason, for whatever reason, ठीक है, अगर कोई भी एक फीमेल आर्टिस्ट आपके पास आती है या आपके इवेंट में आ रही हैं तो प्लीज़ मेक अरेंजमेंट्स फॉर हर। एंड या इट माइट सीम अ लिटिल ऑकवर्ड टू इवन आस्क दैट आई ऑन योर पीरियड्स और समथिंग, बट इफ़ यू गेट टू नो कि फीमेल आर्टिस्ट in your event is on periods, so go get them some nutritious food, ठीक है, जैसे शारान्या ने हमें बताया कि fruits, you know, and carbs help a lot, and go get them a green room or a restroom, not restroom actually, like at least get them a room so they can rest for a while, and yeah, that's it, and सब कुछ ही covered है podcast में। इतने दूर सुनने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, and since it was totally an English podcast, I hope this was enjoyed and since it was a total English podcast, I hope it was enjoyed by all my English speaking audience, and yeah, जिनको English नहीं समझ आई हो, so yeah, I listened to your messages, man. and yeah, what else can I say? Like, it was a really informative session. I won't say a fun session because we talked on a really serious topic, and do what you can do, and yeah, man, that is it. I don't know what else to say, like everything is covered in the podcast. So just keep dancing, keep shaping, and make lots and lots of money. I'll see you again.